Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on InRangeTV. We're doing another mud test today, and it's been a little while since we did one of these, because they're getting a little bit boring, a little stale.
They have to be interesting enough to justify the effort.
Yeah.
And just throwing random guns in the mud doesn't justify that for me.
Right.
But we came up with a few today that do justify the effort.
Here's the deal. We're in the US, we're not in Russia. We can't just go get a whatever kind of Russian AK variety of people think is going to somehow magically perform differently than every other AK ever built to the same specs. However, here in the US, we can do that with the AR-15. And back in Vietnam, we know there were it's easy to find about how the M15 failed and killed people.
M16, you said M15.
Sorry, the M16. Well, what we can get is this. This is a Colt SP1. This is the exact same gun, except in semi-auto, that the US military was using in Vietnam.
And before you chime in, it is an A1 birdcage.
Yep, pretty common.
It does not have a brass deflector, does not have a forward assist. However, the bolt carrier does have the teeth for a forward assist.
Yep, that's how Colt was producing them. This is a Colt-produced gun. This is in every way an authentic Vietnam-era AR-15.
The A1 birdcage came around 1969 and started becoming the standard issue because the prongs are problematic getting caught on brush or getting broken off when soldiers would use it to break wires.
Right.
And the chrome line or the chromed bolt carriers went away pretty quick and turned into these bolt carriers, and they were replaced in guns even if they didn't have the forward assist. So this is absolutely representative of a Vietnam-era gun.
So what we can do is see how this thing handles the mud. You ready?
I'm ready. So what we do is we got two 20-round mags. By the way, these are Colt surplus USGI 20-round mags, just like they would have used during the war, with metal followers, not polymer followers. So we've got 20 rounds in each. We're going to fire off 5 rounds to prove the gun works. Then we're going to mud it up with the dust cover closed. We're going to fire the rest of this magazine, which should be 15 rounds, and then we're going to make it worse. All right, 5 rounds, no issues as we should expect. Dust cover is closed. Oh, soupy as always. I don't think I need to do more on that side already.
That's probably pretty good. Now, the urban legend is what? That you could find ARs buried in the mud in Vietnam, dig them out, kick the bolt handle open, and they'd run, right?
That was the AK. You said AR.
I know. Are you sure it wasn't the AR?
No, it was the AK.
Oh, so you don't think this will actually work?
I think it's going to work just fine. Let me find the safety. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm not brushing the mud off the gun besides getting to the safety. All right, I'm going to disengage the safety.
Yep.
I'm going to fire the rest of this magazine. Ah! It locked open! Just like the other AR we tested multiple times. However, this is a Vietnam-era gun. Absolutely zero issues, zero malfunctions. So I'm going to dump that mag. Grab this other 20-round mag. Insert it. Close the bolt. I'm going to leave the dust cover open. I'm going to put the safety on for safety reasons. We're going to remud the gun. Please note, dust cover's open. I think I poured that straight in, didn't I?
Pretty much.
Other side again. All right. Shaking it off just to be able to see the gun. Ooh, nasty.
That's not good looking.
All right, got to get to the safety. Safety's off. Oh my God! It just worked. Just like I said it would, just like we knew it would, just like we said with the first mud test. It is the design of the gun that allows this to function. Does this mean the gun doesn't require more maintenance than an AK? No. What it is a sealed design that prevents the ingress of filth and dirt into the action, and as a result, in conditions like these, this gun supersedes and does better than the AK, which has rather open functionality for dirt and ingress of filth.
I think it's important to point out that we like ARs, and we also really like AKs.
In fact, I shoot AKs at matches more than I shoot ARs.
I have twice as many AKs as I have ARs. We really like both
I'm in the
guns.
same boat.
However, we don't have an emotional fixation to either design. They both have pros and cons. There are some things that AKs do really well. There are some things that ARs do really well. This happens to be one of those things that the AR does a lot better than the AK. Doesn't mean it's an objectively better gun. That depends on what your situation is. There is no such thing as an objectively best rifle. It's always a question of context. What are you doing with the gun? If this is what you're doing, a system that is tightly toleranced, nice and smooth, precision manufactured, and sealed up against mud is going to work a lot better than one that has loose clearances, which allow carbon from shooting to kind of just flail around inside the gun and get worked out of the way. That's great, but that's not what you need to survive this specific test.
If you're willing to put maintenance and general care and feeding into an AR-15, it will last you and be as reliable as an AK.
Absolutely.
You can abuse an AK and still have it be reliable. You cannot abuse an AR and have it be reliable.
He says, having just covered it in
over
mud.
a duration of time. Over a duration of time. But if you jump into a mud soup, the AR is more likely to continue running than the AK.
Yep.
If you don't maintain your gun for 5 years, the AK is more likely to be running than your AR.
Yep.
Those are just the nature of the beast. It all depends on what the purpose of your gun is and what you're trying to achieve with it.
Yep.
So that said, one of the things that we're going to hear about in this video is, well, then why about the lore? What's the lore about Vietnam? If that Vietnam gun worked, why did this work?
This is a good point. The issue in Vietnam were completely different. So the primary issue in Vietnam was that the military changed the powder specifications between when the gun was tested and when it went into its first real issue. And this sounds like a minor thing, but by changing the powder specification, they substantially changed the gas pressure at the gas port, which changed the bolt velocity, caused the thing to no longer function reliably. This is a critical element in gun design.
It isn't, and in the AR, it's particularly relevant.
Right.
Dwell time in this chamber with that star bolt makes a huge difference on whether or not that round is going, that spent case is going to extract and eject out of this gun or not. If it's still under high pressure, that bolt will literally tear off of the bolt head, the case head, and just come back and just get a double feed. Won't extract or won't eject. So that pressure system and that timing, which is a derivative of the gas pressure here through the gas system, opening up, how much your spring pressure is, and the weight of your buffer, all determine your dwell time in an AR. And if you change that in your system with your ammunition, you've broken the gun.
Right. And that's what the military did at the very beginning when these guns were issued in Vietnam. That's compounding the fact that they didn't issue cleaning kits, because someone got the bright idea that you didn't have to clean it. I don't know where that came from, but it's stupid. So you had chambers that were now starting to get perhaps rusty, covered in gunk, which is going to make extraction even harder. You combine that with higher pressure cartridges, or not higher, chamber pressure isn't necessarily any different.
You've altered the dwell time.
Exactly. Gas port pressure is different. Now, the pressure in the cartridge when it's trying to extract is higher, plus the chamber is now sticky, makes the problem that much worse.
So, interesting.
And who exactly did... We talked to someone who has some way of having some insight into that, as I recall.
Oh, you mean Sullivan?
Yeah, the guy who designed the AR-15. The guy who took the AR-10 and together with Bob Fremont scaled it down into the AR-15 for Gene Stoner.
And when we were speaking to him about this topic, no joke, I don't know if we have this on footage or not, you could see his face contort.
He was pissed.
Into wrath. How many years later?
The report, the final report of the congressional investigation was that the way the Army handled that was unbelievable and bordered on criminal negligence.
Wow.
They couldn't find anybody to blame. I mean, they couldn't prove that anybody did it deliberately, but that's sure what it looked like.
Okay.
It was sabotaged.
Okay.
And I don't know how many troops died because of it.
Those bean counters cost American lives.
Yeah.
Some guy behind a desk goes, hey, we got all this surplus powder. Let's just use it. Another guy says, if we don't issue cleaning kits, we save $2.50 per gun. That killed men. The rifle didn't. The design didn't. That did. Yep. And that's where this lore comes from. And this idea that one AR is going to function better than another because it costs $500 versus $1,000, or an AK that costs $500 versus $1,000 makes no difference. The design is intrinsically the same. And in this test, that's why this one succeeds.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope we've been able to clear up some of the misconceptions around this subject. It shouldn't be a touchy subject. This shouldn't be something that gets people emotionally involved, but apparently it is. And you know, we prefer to look at these guns as objective mechanical devices that have their pros and cons, things they do well, things they don't do well, and assess them objectively instead of getting emotionally involved with them.
I get a little emotionally involved because of the reaction of people to watch it, but I'm not emotionally charged or involved in the guns themselves. The guns themselves are inanimate objects. They may be designed by a specific nation state, or even in some instances, the product of a specific political regime.
Yep.
For example, World War II German guns are the product of a Nazi regime. The gun itself has no politics. If you are a Second Amendment supporter, you have to realize the gun itself is an inanimate object. Don't contradict yourselves. These are not political items. They're just mechanical devices. That's all there is to it. It's not a sporting event. It's not my team.
Right.
It's what does this gun do under certain circumstances. That's it.
Yep. Unless you're the guy who designed it. You designed it, then okay, you've got some skin in the game.
Totally different.
If you enjoyed this sort of thing, please do consider checking us out on Patreon. It's the support there that makes it possible for us to continue doing this, and we give away cool stuff on a regular basis to our Patreon supporters. So if you can't support us directly that way, we totally understand. Just check out the channels on both YouTube and Full30, share them with your friends, and enjoy the content.
Share the hell out of this one. This needs to be dispelled. Please, let's break this myth.
End this one, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we thought you guys might just appreciate seeing yet another data point in the AR-15 mud test. This one is not an original Colt. This is a Troy GAU-5 replica, set up like one of the Sontai Raider guns with a single point on it. And just do the same thing to it too, because why not? It's an AR, I'm pretty sure it'll work. I got 15 rounds in there. On safe.
Oh, you're just going to start with the dust cover open. I think that's the way to go.
Why not?
Yep.
I'm too lazy to close it. Besides, if I were actually in Sontai, I'd probably have that dust cover open.
And it's a U.S. property on it. You're abusing U.S. property.
Boy, you know what? I just got some on the scope.
Oh, no. You won't be able to see through it.
Oh, shoot. Let's see. It's just black. Just black with a dot.
You
it's like
broke
the
the
scope's
scope.
broke. Oh, wait. That's how the scope's supposed to be.
Oh.
All right. Fire. Locked, open, and empty.
Hey, it worked.
It's almost like they all do.
How many ARs have we done this to now? 4.
I think 4.
4 of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Cool. Hey, you know what? This has been sitting in the sun drying.
Now it looks kind of crusty and nasty.
Now it's turned into Adobe. Let's do the Adobe test. 20
Awesome.
round mag. Adobe test. Colt SP1, Vietnam era.
Some Adobe flew out there when you closed the bolt.
Ah! Still works.
Who'd have thought?
Incomprehensible.
I guess you would have thought that.
Yeah, the whole time.